Today's lecture is on Unit 19, Lord of the Flies by William Golding. In this lecture, we will first go through the summary of the unit to understand the central idea. Then, we will carefully solve all the exercises step by step, including reading comprehension, grammar work, and vocabulary practice. After that, we will discuss the character sketches of the main figures, Ralph, Jack, Piggy, and Simon, followed by comparisons and thematic analysis. The aim is to strengthen your comprehension, writing, and exam preparation skills. If you have any questions, feel free to write them in the comment section. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please do so for more lectures. So let's get started. Summary Lord of the Flies by William Golding is an allegorical story about a group of English schoolboys stranded on an uninhabited island after a plane crash. With no adults to guide them, they attempt self-rule. Ralph becomes chief and stresses rescue, order, and the signal fire. Piggy, intelligent but weak, supports him. Jack, however, desires power and prioritizes hunting over rescue. Gradually, fear of a mythical beast spreads, driving the boys into savagery. Simon, who realizes the beast is only within them, is murdered in a frenzy. Later, Piggy and the conch are destroyed, marking the end of civilization. Ralph is hunted like an animal until a naval officer arrives and rescues them. Symbols like the conch, fire, Piggy's glasses, and the Lord of the Flies highlight themes of order, knowledge, fear, and evil. The novel ultimately exposes the darkness of human nature and the fragility of civilization. Exercise Reading Comprehension 1. How did the boys come to the jungle island? Bacche jungle ke jazire par kaise pahunche? The boys came to the jungle island when their plane crashed during a journey. The crash left them stranded without any adults to guide or protect them. They survived, but were forced to face the challenges of the wild. This sudden accident marked the beginning of their struggle for survival. 2. What did Ralph do to attract the other boys on the island? Ralph ne zire par dusre bachon ko apni taraf mutawal karne ke liye kya kiya? Ralph found a conch shell on the beach and blew into it to make a loud sound. This sound gathered all the boys scattered across the island. The conch became a symbol of unity and order. It gave Ralph the role of a leader in the beginning. 3. Describe the scene of the arrival of Jack and his band at the place where the boys were assembled. Jake aur iske guru ke pahunchne ka manzar bayan kare, jab ladke jamaat hai. Jack arrived with his choir boys dressed in black uniforms, marching in order. They looked disciplined and military-like, which impressed the other boys. Jack appeared proud and strong in his leadership. His entrance showed his desire for power. Mode 4. What was the first issue that arose before the boys, and how was it tackled? Ladkon ke samne pehla masala kya tha aur ise kaise hal kiya gaya? The first issue was the need for leadership and order among the boys. They decided to hold an election to choose a chief. Ralph was elected because he had the conch and seemed confident. This gave the group a sense of direction at first. The 5. How did Ralph think they would be rescued? Ralph ne socha ke inhe kis tarah bachaya jayega? Ralph believed they would be rescued by keeping a signal fire burning on the mountain. He thought ships passing by would see the smoke and come to save them. For him, the fire was a symbol of hope. He always prioritized rescue over other activities. 6. What rule regarding the conch was made and why? Shinsh ke bare mein kya qaida banaya gaya aur kyun? The rule was that only the boy holding the conch could speak during meetings. This was to maintain order and discipline among the group. The conch gave everyone an equal chance to express their thoughts. It symbolized democracy and respect for rules. 7. Briefly describe the role of hallucination seen in Lord of the Flies. Nawal Lord of the Flies mein Fareeb Nazar ke manzar ka kya kirdar hai? The hallucination occurs when Simon imagines the Lord of the Flies speaking to him. It represents the evil and savagery that exists inside human beings. Simon realizes that the beast is not outside but within them. This scene is central to the novel's theme. 8. What is the significance of the title Lord of the Flies? Unwan Lord of the Flies. Ki ahmiyat kya hai? The title refers to the pig's head placed on a stick called the Lord of the Flies. It symbolizes evil, fear, and savagery within the boys. It also represents Beelzebub, another name for the devil. The title highlights the dark side of human nature. 9. What happens to the conch and Piggy, and what does it suggest? Shang और Piggy के साथ क्या हुआ और ये क्या जाहिर करता है? Piggy is killed by a rock thrown by Roger, and the conch is shattered at the same time. This symbolizes the complete breakdown of order and reason. With Piggy's death, wisdom and logic disappear. The destruction shows the triumph of savagery over civilization. 10. How are the boys rescued at the end? आखिर में लड़कों को किस तरह बचाया गया? The boys are rescued when a naval officer arrives on the island. He notices the huge smoke created by the boys' fire. This fire, started for hunting, ironically leads to their salvation. The rescue ends their nightmare, but also exposes their loss of innocence. 11. How were Ralph's priorities different from Jack's? Ralph की तरजीहात Jake से किस तरह मुख्तलिफ थीं? Ralph's priority was building shelters, maintaining the signal fire, and ensuring rescue. He focused on order and survival. Jack, on the other hand, cared only about hunting and enjoying power. Their differences created conflict between civilization and savagery. 12. What does Simon represent in the novel? Naval mein Simon kis cheez ki numayandagi karta hai? Simon represents goodness, spirituality, and moral truth. He is kind, helpful, and close to nature. He realizes that the real beast is inside human hearts. His death shows the loss of innocence and the destruction of pure goodness. 13. Compare and contrast the characters of Ralph and Piggy. Ralph or Piggy ke kirdaron ka mawazna karen. Ralph is brave, confident, and a natural leader, while Piggy is weak, shy, and physically fragile. Piggy, however, is intelligent and logical, providing valuable advice. Ralph relies on action, while Piggy relies on reasoning. Together, they represent the balance of leadership and wisdom. 14. What is the purpose of the introduction of the mock hunts in the novel? Naval mein jhooti shikari rasmon ke taaruf ka kya maqsad hai? The mock hunts show how the boys slowly lose their civilized behavior. They become addicted to violence and enjoy pretending to kill. These rituals foreshadow real murders later in the story. They reveal the boys' descent into savagery. 15. Listen, all of you. We are living along the beach by a flat rock. We hunt and feast and have fun. If you want to join my tribe, come and see us. Perhaps I will let you join, perhaps not. Whose words are these? And what's the occasion? Ye alfaz kisne kahe? Or mauka kiya tha? These words were spoken by Jack. He said this when he broke away from Ralph's group and formed his own tribe. Jack wanted to attract more boys to join him. It shows his arrogance and love of power. 16. Authority sat on his shoulder and chattered in his ear like an ape. Explain this statement of William Golding with reference to the context. William Golding ke is jamle ki wazahat kare. This line describes Jack's obsession with power. Authority controlled him and made him behave wildly, like an animal. It shows how leadership turned into dictatorship. Golding uses this image to show the corrupting influence of power. 17. The fire is the most important thing. Without the fire, we can't be rescued. Whose words are these? What do you say about this statement? Ye alfaz kisne kahe? Is bayan ke bare mein aap kya kehte hain? These words were said by Ralph. He always believed the fire was a symbol of hope and rescue. His statement is true because the fire finally brought the naval officer. It shows Ralph's wisdom and commitment to civilization. 18. What is the dominant theme of the novel Lord of Flies? Naval Lord of the Flies ka markazi mawzu kya hai? The dominant theme is the conflict between civilization and savagery. The novel shows how thin the line is between order and chaos. It reveals the darkness within human hearts. Golding highlights that evil is part of human nature. 19. What general idea about the psychology of small children do you derive from this novel, Lord of Flies? Us novel se bachon ki nafsiyat ke bare mein aapko kya khayal milta hai? The novel shows that children can quickly lose discipline without adult guidance. They are innocent but easily influenced by fear and desire. Their behavior changes when rules are absent. It reflects both their vulnerability and hidden savagery. 20. Explain the following symbols used in the novel: the conch shell, Piggy's glasses, the signal fire, the beast. Mandarja zeel alamat ki wazahat kare. Sheng, Piggy ka chashma, aag ka dhawan, bala. The conch shell symbolizes order, law, and democracy. Piggy's glasses represent knowledge and the power of science. Writing suggestions. 1. Write the character sketch of the following characters. A. Ralph. Leadership qualities. Ralph emerges as the natural leader among the boys. Chosen as chief due to his charisma, fairness, and the symbolic power of the conch, he immediately focuses on survival and rescue. His main priority is maintaining the signal fire to attract rescuers, which shows his responsible and practical mindset. Symbol of civilization. Ralph is a representative of order, discipline, and democracy. He insists on meetings, planning shelters, and working collectively. His leadership embodies the voice of reason in contrast to the chaos that grows among the boys. Conflict with Jack. Despite his leadership skills, Ralph constantly faces challenges from Jack, who undermines his authority. Ralph believes in cooperation, but Jack's hunger for power weakens Ralph's influence. Development and realization. Ralph begins as an optimistic leader who trusts in human goodness. However, by the end, after Simon and Piggy's deaths and his own near death, he realizes the inherent darkness in human nature. He becomes wiser, sorrowful, and deeply aware of the fragility of civilization. Ralph's tears at the end mark the loss of innocence and the brutal truth about mankind. Jack. Ambition and arrogance. Jack Meridew begins as the head of the choir boys and immediately desires leadership. His arrogance and thirst for authority are clear when he contests Ralph's election as chief. Though he accepts Ralph initially, he continues to challenge him. Symbol of savagery. Jack represents the breakdown of civilization and the rise of primal instincts. His obsession with hunting pigs replaces the need for rescue. He paints his face, performs dances, and uses violence to establish dominance. This transformation highlights how easily humans can abandon morality when rules disappear. Charismatic manipulator. Jack lures followers by offering meat, fun, and freedom from discipline. He feeds on the boys' fears of the beast and uses them to consolidate power. His tribe becomes a cult of savagery, where brutality is celebrated. Cruelty and violence. Jack mocks Piggy's physical weakness and is partly responsible for Simon's and Piggy's deaths. His lust for blood and control symbolizes the dangerous pull of dictatorship. Overall role. Jack is not just a villain. He is the embodiment of unchecked human instincts. His descent into savagery mirrors mankind's dark potential when freed from law and morality. C. Piggy. Intellect and rationality. Piggy, though overweight, asthmatic, and physically weak, emerges as the intellectual backbone of the group. His logical thinking, practical suggestions, and emphasis on order provide guidance to Ralph. He values rules, meetings, and scientific methods for survival. Symbol of knowledge. Piggy's glasses symbolize reason, science, and progress. They are used to light the fire, making him central to survival. Unlike others, Piggy understands the importance of long-term planning and structured governance. Loyalty to Ralph. Piggy strongly supports Ralph's leadership and continuously urges him to assert authority. He believes in the power of the conch and insists on maintaining democratic practices, even when most boys drift toward savagery. Tragic vulnerability. Despite his intelligence, Piggy is mocked, bullied, and excluded due to his physical weakness. Jack openly insults him, and his inability to command respect shows society's tendency to overlook wisdom when it comes in a fragile form. Death and symbolism. Piggy's brutal death and the shattering of the conch signify the end of civilization, reason, and justice on the island. His role highlights how fragile rational thought is in the face of fear and violence. D. Simon. Gentle and kind nature. Simon is the most sensitive, compassionate, and spiritual character in the novel. Unlike others, he helps the little boys, little uns, by providing them food and comfort. He represents natural human goodness untouched by corruption. Symbol of truth and morality. Simon realizes that the real beast is not an external monster, but the evil inside the boys' own hearts. This deep insight makes him a prophet-like figure, standing apart from the others. Christ-like imagery. Simon's confrontation with the Lord of the Flies, the pig's head on a stick, represents a spiritual revelation. The pig mocks him, symbolizing the power of evil. When Simon later descends the mountain to share the truth, he is mistaken for the beast and killed in a frenzied ritual. His death parallels the crucifixion of Christ, where truth and innocence are destroyed by ignorance and fear. Significance of death. Simon's death marks the point of no return for the boys. It shows how savagery has completely overtaken civilization. His role reminds readers that moral visionaries are often silenced violently in society. Simon is the voice of conscience and the embodiment of pure goodness. 2. Compare and contrast Ralph and Jack. Common traits. Ralph and Jack are both natural leaders with charisma, bravery, and determination. Initially, both share the common goal of survival and keeping the group together. They are intelligent, resourceful, and able to influence others. Ralph's ideals. Ralph represents order, discipline, and civilization. His leadership is democratic. He values cooperation, rules, and rescue. He uses the conch as a symbol of authority and responsibility. Ralph is future-oriented, focusing on the fire as a hope for rescue. Jack's ideals. Jack, in contrast, represents savagery, instinct, and dictatorship. He thrives on hunting, violence, and fear. His leadership is authoritarian, feeding on the boy's primal desires. Jack focuses on immediate pleasures like meat and dances, rather than long-term rescue. Conflict. The rivalry between Ralph and Jack becomes the central conflict of the novel. Ralph's rational authority slowly collapses as Jack's violent charisma grows stronger. Their struggle highlights the tension between civilization and barbarism. Symbolism. Together, Ralph and Jack symbolize the two sides of human nature, the civilized and the savage. While Ralph's leadership crumbles under pressure, Jack's rise to power exposes mankind's inclination toward chaos when laws and morality are removed. A. Vocabulary and grammar. Look for an thesaurus and tell whether each pair of words are synonyms or antonyms. 1. Agree, disagree. Antonyms. 2. Cold, freezing. Synonyms. 3. Easy, difficult. Antonyms. 4. Argue, squabble. Synonyms. 5. Guess, estimate. Synonyms. 6. Bottom, top. Antonyms. 7. Tired, energetic. Antonyms. 8. Huge, gigantic. Synonyms. 9. Sink, float. Antonyms. 10. Windy, calm. Antonyms. 11. Noisy, quiet. Antonyms. 12. Unhappy, sad. Synonyms. B. Identify the following sentences as simple, compound, and complex. 1. We were playing in the garden when the guests arrived. Complex. 2. She put on her coat and went out. Compound. 3. I can't figure out what he wants. Complex. 4. You don't look happy to see me. Simple. 5. The cat saw the puppies playing in the garden. Simple. 6. He leaned out of the window. Simple. 7. You shouldn't have done this to me. Simple. 8. They tried very hard, but they couldn't win the match. Compound. 9. Who let the cat in? Simple. 10. Although it was raining, we went for a walk. Complex. C. Write the strongest word of the pair given in the parentheses in the given blank of each sentence. 1. The flowers were beautiful in the garden. Beautiful, pretty. 2. We had a delicious dinner at the restaurant. Good, delicious. 3. The glass crashed to the ground. Fell, crashed. 4. She whispered hello to the teacher. 5. The starving cat sat on the fence. Starving, hungry. 6. He slept on the hard bed. Hard, firm. 7. The children will dash out the door when the bell rings. Dash, march. 8. Salim was furious with his brother. Cross, furious. D. Write the indirect narration in the indirect speech column for the sentences given in direct speech column. 1. He said, I am working hard for the upcoming tests. He said that he was working hard for the upcoming tests. 2. She said, my only wish is to become a good man. She said that her only wish was to become a good man. 3. He said, I am learning the rules of new language. He said that he was learning the rules of a new language. 4. I said to her, you seem to be a nice girl. I told her that she seemed to be a nice girl. 5. He said to me, you should be responsible in your duty. He told me that I should be responsible in my duty. Assad said, it is a rule to obey the master. Assad said that it was a rule to obey the master. 7. They said, we are waiting for our brothers. They said that they were waiting for their brothers. 8. I said, I am the winner in this game. I said that I was the winner in that game. 9. They said, we are learning English by ourselves. They said that they were learning English by themselves. Imperative sentences, reported speech exercise 10. He said to his servant, clean the tables again. He ordered his servant to clean the tables again. 11. Mother said to her daughter, shut up, go into your room. Mother ordered her daughter to shut up and go into her room. 12. He said to the waiter, bring me the detailed bill. He asked the waiter to bring him the detailed bill. 13. He said, close the door, Raja. He told Raja to close the door. 14. Father said to his son, get ready, we will leave quickly. Father told his son to get ready as they would leave quickly. 15. I said to policemen, please, help the poor lady. I requested the policeman to help the poor lady. 16. The old man said, please release my son this time. The old man requested them to release his son that time. 17. Don't ever try to talk me. She said to him, don't ever try to talk me. She warned him to ever try to talk to her. 18. Teacher said to students, stand up all. The teacher ordered all the students to stand up. 19. He said to his son, avoid sitting with bad guys. He advised his son to avoid sitting with bad guys. 20. The doctor said to him, stay away from junk food. The doctor advised him to stay away from junk food. Reported speech exercise 21 to 30. 21. I said, let him sleep before we leave. I suggested letting him sleep before we left. 22. She said to him, let's meet her parents somewhere. She suggested to him that they should meet her parents somewhere. 23. I said to her, let me think before I give you any proposal. I told her to let me think before I gave her any proposal. 24. She said to her father, let me buy some books for Alex. She asked her father to let her buy some books for Alex. 25. I said, let's start reading this novel together. I suggested that we should start reading that novel together. 26. The teacher said, let's start over a new chapter. The teacher suggested that they should start a new chapter. 27. She said, let me to be more prepared for the task. She requested to be allowed to be more prepared for the task. 28. I said, let me find a best solution to solve this issue permanently. I requested to be allowed to find the best solution to solve that issue permanently. 29. They said, let's play a game where the winner will win a gold. They suggested playing a game where the winner would win a gold. 30. She said to me, please let me stay here until my brother comes. She requested me to let her stay there until her brother came.